Hi, I'm Pastor Freda, pastor of Seaman Memorial Lutheran Church and chaplain of Pacific Community. Matthew chapter 20, verses 1 through 16. For the kingdom of heaven is like a landowner who went out early in the morning to hire laborers for his vineyard. After agreeing with the laborers for the usual daily wage, he sent them into his vineyard. When he went out about 9 o'clock, he saw others standing idle in the marketplace. And he said to them, "You also go into the vineyard, and I will pay you whatever is right." So they went. When he went out again about noon and about 3 o'clock, he did the same. And about 5 o'clock, he went out and found others standing around. And he said to them, "Why are you standing here idle all day?" They said to him, "Because no one has hired us." He said to them, "You also go into the vineyard." When evening came, the owner of the vineyard said to his manager, "Call the laborers and give them their pay, beginning with the last, and then going to the first." When those hired about 5 o'clock came, each of them received the usual daily wage. Now, when the first came, they thought they would receive more, but each of them also received the usual daily wage. And when they received it, they grumbled against the landowner, saying, "These last worked only 1 hour, and you have made them equal to us, who have borne the burden of the day and the scorching heat." But he replied to one of them, "Friend, I am doing you no wrong. Did you not agree with me for the usual daily wage? Take what belongs to you and go. I choose to give to this last the same as I give to you. Am I not allowed to do what I choose with what belongs to me? Or are you envious because I am generous?" So the last will be first, and the first will be last. So we see in this parable that some of the workers were hired early and were in the vineyard all day. The people hired agreed to work for the usual pay. Throughout the day, the landowner goes out and hired more workers. They only worked part of the day. Now, at the end of the day, this is where the twist comes. When it's time for the workers to be paid, those hired last were paid first, and they received the full day's pay. So those who worked all day, of course they thought they would receive more because they worked longer. So imagine their frustration, surprise, when they receive the same pay for working all day. They are angry, and they whine and complain to the landowner and tell him, in essence, you aren't being fair. We should get more. Those other people only worked a short time, and we worked all day out in the hot sun. The landowner says to one of them, wait a minute, aren't I able to do what I want with what belongs to me? All of us are workers in God's vineyard. Some of us have been working most of our lives. Some started a little later in life, or maybe we're younger and haven't been around quite as long. But that doesn't matter to God. God wants to use all of our gifts that He has given us. And sometimes we might be like those workers who worked all day and get resentful when someone who's not been working as long gets treated the same as those who have been working longer. But God doesn't work the way we think. We may think it's not fair. I know. We may have said this a time or two or thought this throughout our lives. But God treats all of us as His beloved children and asks us to come work in the vineyard with Him and alongside others. We may work in different ways and for different lengths of time, but we are all a necessary part to get the work done. Again, it takes each of us sharing the gifts God has given us to do the work God has called us to do. Peace and blessings.